Have you had, what are some of your inspirational music artists growing up?
Man, I mean, I have a brother who's 7 years older than me. So I was very lucky to have all the dope new music in the house
Yeah.
and around me before any of my friends did.
Yeah.
And I also had this really dope friend, Janelle, in LA, who we would go back and forth, which was crazy at the time. Between I was like, 9 to 12 years old, our parents would fly us by ourselves back and forth to spend a month of the summer with each other. So I'd spend time in LA and he'd spend time here. And so, at a time where you could put a tape in a tape deck in LA and record the radio and like get the dopest shit and come back with like, what is that? That's Ice Cube. What is, like, I've never heard any of this stuff before. And so yeah, I was really lucky to like have that influence, that musical influence in my life kind of coming in all the time.
It's interesting because I remember it was very tough to get the music I wanted to listen to because a buddy would bring it to school and you're like, like I remember my first cassette I ever bought was Def Leppard.
Yes.
I loved
to
this day. And I the other day we're driving home and I'm like, kids, you gotta listen. Yeah. And there's a couple songs that have like the sickest guitar riffs. And my son's taking guitar lessons. I'm like, if you can learn that, I'm bowing down.
Yeah.
So, but I remember when I first got that tape, I'd go, Mom, can we go to like Kmart or whatever it was, Zellers, and go to the music center? She's like, what is this stuff? She's like, it's just like this demon-looking picture on it. And she's like,
was the devil at that time.
I don't want to buy you this. I'm like, no, Mom, it's okay.
100%.
And it's like, and I remember my first rap CD I bought, or cassette, I guess, was when I hit grade 7.
Yeah.
Because I took the bus home myself. And so my buddies and I were able to go to the mall.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd saved up like, $12 just to get this kit.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was able to get that because in Canada, I don't recall that there was a station that was dedicated to like hip hop music. I think Much Music on TV was the closest thing I can remember.
Yeah. The Bounce would be the closest thing that came to that format.
Yeah. And so, recording things off the radio, it's normally pop or country, and you wouldn't get a lot of that. But then you would watch Much Music, these rap, like, how do I get a hold of that stuff? So
that's right.
It's very cool that you got this, connection in LA at a young age to get that.
I was just working on this documentary about with a good friend of ours, Arlo Maverick, who is shooting this documentary showcasing one of the b-boy groups, the initial b-boy groups of the hip-hop community here in Edmonton, the Untouchable crew, that if you weren't in that community or in that sort of environment, you have no idea the way that this crew has built and shaped the roots of hip-hop as we know it in Edmonton. And just filtering through some of these interviews of these guys talking about a time that we grew up in, they're a bit older than us, and they're sort of the slightly older generation, but still the same time of like, you had to wait for Rap City once a week.
Yeah.
That's where you got your rap music.
Yeah.
And you couldn't just watch it again. That was, if you liked Ice Cube's video, you prayed, hopefully it's going to get played again next week on Rap City, because that was the only way you could check that, You couldn't go to Spotify, you couldn't go to YouTube at any given time in your pocket, pull it out and watch and listen to that shit. So that was like, and different level of excitement to like save up that allowance.
Yep.
Go to HMV or A&B Sound or wherever we're going, and like buy that cassette tape, open it up and physically like read all of the credits of the songs and like, Dr. Dave produced that. And to have that tangible thing in your hand that you treasured and cherished that got all faded because your mom put it in the washing machine. It was in your pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you still have that cassette tape like years later. So just a nostalgia, and I'm a dinosaur in that way where I love and appreciate all that, but I get with the times too, like I love having that at my fingertips at any given time with technology, in my pocket. So
and I'm with you, like especially as I said, like on driving home, can load up Amazon Music and here's Def Leppard, kids, we can listen to it. But I'm with you though, dinosaur as well. Like there's something about that I think it's a bit lost.
Yeah.
I think, and it makes us sound a little old, but I truly feel like that's part of the art.
Yeah.
Like it encompass that. And I remember the illustrators too, like they used to spend time and money building those covers. Like it wasn't just a photo slapped onto it. It was like took effort and some creativity and some thought behind it.
100%. A good Jing and Jock, we did a Christmas song that they were playing on the air. Every year we get to do like, a Halloween song with Robbie the intern and Josh and I. And the Christmas song we did last season, Josh put together this album cover. He just like used an old random picture from his phone of his kids at the Christmas tree and like slapped a title on it. I'm like, dude, we can't put this out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, have you seen what album covers look like now?
Yeah.
And so I had to like do a quick, top 40 album covers looking on Spotify. I'm like, man, to your point, like this is not an era of where we grew up and where like that was the part of the art of the presentation of that record.
Yeah.
Was the art and the way that was laid out. When we were producing and putting out records as Dark Sun Tribe, my hip hop group, the album, the way the album was pieced together of those 15 songs was themed. There was a reason why track 2 was track 2, why we wanted you to hear that second.
Yeah.
Every space in between each song was timed and strategic and thoughtful. Whereas now it's like single, picture, title, slap it up.
Whatever goes viral.
Put it out. Yeah, just draw it. So, there's a little bit less of that foresight. And I think it just has to do with, the speed at which we're now consuming media is just crazy, right?
It is. Yeah.